We gather together as a community of seekers to honor the interdependence of life, to respect the dignity of all, and to honor the land we walk humbly upon. Friends, let us acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples, the original nations of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We are blessed with a space and an opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Steve will light the chalice here in the sanctuary this morning. Those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. Welcome back, Steve. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with us as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Please stand in body and or spirit and sing our opening hymn, I Brought My Spirit to the Sea, hymn number 4.
I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I gazed upon infinity. I heard the waters roar. And then there came a sense of peace. Some whisper calmed my soul. Some ancient ministry of stars had made my spirit whole. I brought my spirit to the trees that bloomed against the sky. I touched each wandering's careless breeze to know if God was nigh. And then I felt an inner flame that fiercely burned my tears. Upright I rose from bended knee to meet the asking ears.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous peoples historically inhabited. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around the 7th principle. We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. My name is Janet Cooper, and I am your worship associate for this morning's service. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you wish, please raise your hand if you would like to introduce yourself or your guest. Have any?
Hi, I'm Christopher.
Hi, Chris.
Today, most of you know me already, but today I brought my mother Kelly,
Oh.
visiting from Southern
Oh, hi,
California.
Kelly.
And I brought my friend Chris, who's visiting from Grover Beach.
Grover Beach. Oh, well, welcome. Welcome. Glad you joined us this morning, especially in this weather. You can thank you very, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. If you're not on the mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so we can keep you informed about all of our activities. Members and friends, please check out what's happening. The e-blast is sent out to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. And if you wish to see this or any of the past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website or Facebook. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now sing the affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this church, and services its prayer. Sorry. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help, and to help, and to help one another.
We set aside this time for any special announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. If something needs more explanation, contact the person after the service. If you'd like to make an announcement, please raise your hand. When Andy or I call your name, please step up to the podium or unmute yourself, then speak. Do we have any announcements in the sanctuary? Sue.
The Operations Committee is meeting on Zoom this Thursday at 6 o'clock. You can email me for the link. We'll mostly be talking about the chamber mixer that we've been asked to host here. So we're planning for that. The chamber mixer will be on February 15th. And we're hosting the chamber members here. So that's mainly what we'll be talking about, but tell me if you'd like to join us. Thanks.
Do you have any other announcements? I've got a quick one. The hiking club is having a potluck this coming Saturday, and I'd like to invite any members who are interested in joining or becoming a part to come to the potluck and be our guest and just see what we're all about. So, and all the other hiking members, don't forget the potluck on Saturday. Okay, Andy, do we have any?
I just have one to remind the men's group that we meet tomorrow here at the sanctuary and online at 10 a.m. here in the sanctuary. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next week, Diane DeMarco will lead a congregational circle titled Deepening Our Connections. What's up with you? Okay. We take this time to celebrate all those who are having a birthday this month. Birthdays are special, a day when we celebrate your entry into this world and honor your existence. If you have a birthday this month, please raise your hand. And when Andy or I call on you, please reveal your special date. Do we have any February? Oh, wow. Anything online?
Yeah, I think Amanda has her arm raised. Amanda, go ahead. Or are you just cleaning your camera? Just cleaning the camera. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Amanda's is today.
Oh, it is today. Oh, well, happy birthday, Amanda, if you can hear.
Oh.
So this candle burns for Amanda. I think she's it.
Okay.
Okay, this birthday candle honors all friends and family members who are also celebrating birthdays this month. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as part of your personal life, express a gratitude, or perhaps offer an acknowledgement. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may have gone unspoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. The first reading is an extended quote by Dr. Sylvia A. Earle, an American marine biologist, oceanographer, explorer, author, and lecturer. People ask, why should I care about the ocean? Because the ocean is the cornerstone of Earth's support system. It shapes climate and weather. It holds most of life on Earth. 97% of the Earth's water is there. It's the blue heart of the planet. We should take care of our heart. It's what makes life possible for us. We still have a really good chance to make things better than they are. They won't get better unless we take action and inspire others to do the same thing. No one is without power. Everyone has the capacity to do something. And now meditation. I'm going to read from Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. And we come from rich heritages of liturgy and pomp. We come from burning legacies of angry gods and threats of hellfire. We come just as we are. We come with exuberant and joyful hearts, eager to witness to others. We come bereft of the goodness of life, wondering, hesitant. We come just as we are. We come to the place we never knew before was home. We come to the place that has been home for most of our lives. We come just as we are, to join our brothers and sisters as members of one family in this beloved home, our hearts and hands outstretched. Come, silence, fill us. Light, shine in, illuminate our inward view. Help us to see with clarity, shine bright and true, so that we may join our songs in new sounds that become full symphony. The second reading is a poem by E.E. Cummings titled Maggie and Millie and Molly and May. Maggie and Millie and Molly and May went down to the beach to play one day, and Maggie discovered a shell that sang so sweetly she couldn't remember her troubles. And Millie befriended a stranded star, whose rays 5 languid fingers were. And Molly was chased by a horrible thing, which raced sideways while blowing bubbles. And May came home with a smooth round stone, as small as a world and as large as a lone. For whatever we lose, like a you or a me, it's always ourselves we find in the sea.
We'll get to see what are the changes and be able, hopefully, to tease out global climate change, versus human interactions, such as industrialization in the ocean versus pollution. So we're really excited about that. And we're also developing new ways to do it to be carbon free, to use kayaks, to use tamals, to go out in the water. And it's the simplest, it's amazing. The prototype is a fishing rod, an extra long fishing rod. And it has this thing that looks like a wiffle ball, which is a wiffle ball. And then there's materials inside it. And what we have, I wish I had some pictures, but I didn't get a chance to put them in. But we've gone out on the beach with the scientific community and cast, and frankly, I love to cast, so I got to get out there and do it, and then bring it in so that you wouldn't even have to be on a boat to get the near shore samples. So this is really exciting, and we love to do it, and we're bringing the kids on. The kids love to cast, and they love to go out in the kayaks and everything. So this is not going to stop when the sanctuary is designated. This is going to continue to go on. So it's really exciting, and it's using traditional ecological knowledge with science and with ways to make sure that this doesn't impact the global climate change problems. So that's what we're doing on a planetary sort of a level. So there's a lot of different projects that we're involved in, and will continue to be involved in. So I just wanted to give an idea about some of the things we're doing. And so now I'm going to get to the kind of boring part, the federal process of the National Marine Sanctuary designation and where we are in that process. So, I get to do the little button thing. This is so much fun. The swordfish, which is the logo, thank you. The swordfish, which is the logo, was put together by Slo Gutierrez. He's a founding member of the Brotherhood of the Tamal, and he made the swordfish logo. Swordfish is an important story. I'm not going to tell it. I save that for the Chumash that I know who know the story about how swordfish taught them how to fish. But as soon as Slo, who's in his 80s, and his background is he was a Chumash vaquero on a ranch when he was much younger. He's in his 80s, and he was out on the beach riding horses on Morro Beach not that long ago. He immediately went out and got a tattoo, and then several members of our various tribal partners got tattoos. I haven't done it yet. So this is hard to see, but this is the original boundary that we asked for. The boundary starts, and this is proposed at Fiscalini. Oh, I guess I've got the ocean on my mind. At Fiscalini Ranch, where the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary ends. So it would form a contiguous boundary. It would go down and connect with the Channel Islands, and it's drawn on the outside of the outer continental shelf. Because the communities on the Central Coast, the indigenous communities, have been here anywhere from, some of them 8 and some to 15,000 years by Western archaeological estimates. That's where the beach was. So those are were heritage lands and now heritage waters. So that pink is what we have proposed. If you see the blue jagged piece up there that wraps itself around the Monterey Sanctuary and cuts into what we had proposed, those are the 3 offshore wind lease areas. When you hear the word Morro Bay call areas, it's not Morro Bay, it's right there. It's right off of Piedras Blancas, just so you know where it is. So that has already been cut into the proposed map. Now, there are 6 different maps. So I'll show them to you. It gets confusing. You can always find them on the draft environmental impact statement from NOAA, which any insomniacs in the room, over 400 pages. And trust me, I read them. And I'm an insomniac, and it worked. So I'm going to go forward. forward. The point is, since it's not going forward, the point of that is to have a contiguous, protected migratory path. This is a great slide, which I love for PowerPoints, because you can't read it. It makes absolutely no sense. But it does serve to remind me that 1972, which was over 50 years ago, was when National Marine Sanctuary Act was passed. So that goes back a long ways. In San Luis Obispo County, the San Luis Obispo County itself proposed a National Marine Sanctuary around the time when Monterey Bay Sanctuary was also proposed. So the county put out a nomination for a Central Coast National Marine Sanctuary, and it kind of lost out to the Monterey Bay Sanctuary. Chumash were involved in that. The documents have a letter of support regarding this going back to the 80s. So it's been a long haul. Sanctuaries system was frozen for 20 years. And so there were no new sanctuaries. And then in 2013, the sanctuary system was revived. And that's when the idea came up that, hey, we have this big empty space that goes from Cambria down to the Channel Islands. And that's why we keep getting all these really impactful, dangerous projects here. More offshore oil leases, more a liquid nitrogen terminal at the most sacred place for the Chumash at the Western Gate. All of these things, there became an occupation, an illegal occupation of that area from indigenous people from all over the globe. They showed up and they camped for over a year and a half. And it was people, all kinds of people came there, and they got put in jail, and they just kept coming back. And while that was going on, a lot of people said, this is not, this beautiful, special place, this magical place should not have a liquid nitrogen terminal. And it lost traction and was never built. So we're grateful for that. So in 2013, they revitalized National Marine Sanctuaries, and we all started to talk about, hey, let's see if we can get a National Marine Sanctuary. So a group of us who were grassroots community and the Northern Chumash Tribal Council, we wrote a nomination, and it was rejected. So that was kind of a bummer. So NOAA said, you know, you can resubmit. And so put our heads together and resubmitted, worked very hard. You get 25 pages to tell them how important this is. 25 pages is not enough to describe the biodiversity, to describe the beautiful coastline, to describe the communities that had been involved in this since time immemorial. But that one was accepted. So that started the process 2013. That is now, yeah, I'm bad at math, I'm sorry. That has now been a long time. So after we got nominated and approved, we got put into what they call the inventory. The inventory is what I call the dark closet where black mold grows. There was an administration that was not particularly ocean conscious. In fact, that administration proposed and opened up 37 offshore oil leases here. Those of us who were trying to get this National Marine Sanctuary, we were going, please, please, please don't do this. Because one of the biggest things of the protections of National Marine Sanctuary systems are they have turned out to be a permanent prohibition on offshore oil and gas. We sit on the Monterey Shale Formation. There are pockets of the Monterey Shale Formation all over here. And it's the pockets that we happen to have around here are not particularly clean oil and gas. They're mostly coal shale, and they wouldn't be used for petroleum. They'd be used to frack and get natural gas. by the way, I don't agree with the term natural gas. It makes it sound like it's not a carbon omission that toxifies and accelerates global climate change. So a new administration comes in, and we have to have a 5-year review. We were the first nomination to ever hit the 5-year cap. At 5 years, if you've been sitting in that closet, growing mushrooms and mold, you have to prove that you're still relevant. So we went back to NOAA and we asked, what are we supposed to do to give you for a 5-year review? And they said, we don't know, we've never done it before. So again, trying to get all this stuff together, we passed the 5-year review. Nomination, 5-year review, October of 2020. We passed it. And then in November of 2021, took another year for NOAA to actually initiate the designation process. We had a scoping comment period. The first scoping comment period in January of 2022, 98% support, 99% support, and over 20,000 comments. That was amazing. I spend a lot of time in the regulatory system, and there are times when I put in a federal comment where I'm one of 35. So they're pretty, you wouldn't believe, it's all of you people, it's all of the grassroots community, diverse people who want this area to be protected. So our final comment period, which we just got over in October of 23, 99% support of the comments and 98,000 comments. Well, the reason why I'm stumbling over this is because that's wrong. That was an independent analysis that we had a colleague donate, taking the time to do it. NOAA just released last week their numbers, because every time I would say, I'd be in a meeting with NOAA, I would say those numbers, and they said, well, let's just wait till we get completely through, because we have to read them and categorize and bend them. 102,000 comments with over 99% support. So it's pretty substantial. So when is the designation decision going to happen? Well, they were telling us before it would happen early spring of 2022. And then they said fall of 2022. And then they said, maybe January of 2024. No, I think it's March, June. Right now, they're telling us July. So we don't know when it's going to happen. We're very concerned about what the implications of this going past the election cycle. This is the final public comment period was on the draft management plan, the draft environmental impact statement, and the proposed rule. It's interesting to read. They put this out. It turned out to be nearly 600 pages of documents, and we had 2 weeks to get our talking points together on a 60-day comment period. So it was all of our partners, all of our local partners, the grassroots people, wonderful national partners, and we got put together our talking points, and we prioritized what the most important talking points were. There's that, we've got to take that out and we've got to make that right. 102,000, well, let's just say over 100,000. So these comments included hundreds of tribes, businesses, coalitions, thousands of Central Coast residents, thousands of Californians, voices from 50 states and 15 countries. So I'll go really fast over the key points. The designation timing for us, we've got to get this done because we have no idea what the next administration is going to be. Where this goes from NOAA's, they've put together a final draft. It's going through a multi-agency overview. And if you know anything about government multi-agency overviews, it's what the glacial age used to be when we had glaciers and not all icebergs and floating ice cubes. So we want this to get done. It goes to Governor Newsom. He has the right to comment on it. It's not a veto right. It goes to the Congress. They have the right to comment on it. And then finally, it ultimately gets signed in by President Biden. The boundaries, this is the big one. That's our boundary, which would be that larger area. This is the preferred boundary. And the scope of those two shapes are not the same. If you see the light blue and then you see approximately 20 miles of coastline that's the darker blue, that would be what we're calling the industrial corridor. So there would be a gap, but that would keep a non-contiguous boundary, would not, in my opinion, protect the migratory paths. The amazing animals, birds, fish, wildlife that are in that area could be impacted by things like offshore oil drilling, deep sea mining. Vessels could dump their sewage or whatever, their gray water and ballast water in that area. And then they also cut out part of the bulge of the outer continental shelf. So that's what they're proposing to do. We're working very hard to tell them, please give us a contiguous boundary so that all those waters are secure. These are impossible to see, but there's 6 different proposed boundaries. Some of them are very large, some of them are very small. The one that we proposed is 7,000 square miles of ocean protection. The one the agency preferred is about 5,000 miles, and then it gets lower and lower and lower. So we don't know what's going to happen. Offshore wind, we can't ignore that offshore wind isn't a part of that industrial corridor. The concept is that would be where cabling would go. So there are discussions being had. They're very important discussions. And so we're trying to really push for as much protection as we can have. So I just wanted to show you where the leases are. If you look at that map, the what's called the Morro Bay lease, which is directly off Cambria and Piedras Blancas, is right out there. 3 80,000 acre offshore leases. The other little red area is called the Cadimo-Vandenberg project. Now, the Cadimo-Vandenberg project is a very impactful project if it goes. It hasn't even gotten through the permitting process, but it's within state waters. It's within 2 nautical miles in some of the richest, most diverse kelp forests, whales, dolphins, important commercial fish. Okay, Fish Galini Ranch and feast. So that's one of the projects that a lot of us have been working to try and make sure it doesn't happen, because it's in the worst place it could possibly be. So I mentioned tribal collaborative management, and I kind of went over that. Chumash Heritage National Marine Sanctuary is a name that may change. It's not sure that it's going to be that name. The original intent of the nominators were to highlight the heritage of these people, and also in honor of Chief Fred Collins, the original nominator. Outreach and education, we're asking for, and we've been using it, multicultural, multilingual outreach and education. All of our materials we have done in as many languages as we possibly could. I mean, I think we've got Vietnamese and Tagalog, and we work with the Hispanic Access Foundation to translate and print up our materials. That is the Chumash designation campaign. And we want that to continue. And as boots on the ground, we had 2 marine science Chumash cultural camps this last year, and they were camps for kids to learn the heritage and to sit in a tamal and to hear the stories, the animal stories from the elders, and to learn marine science, to go out and take phytoplankton pulls and look at them in a microscope. And this is to get kids involved in wanting to be in ocean sciences, because there's not enough diversity in marine sciences. And we have some wonderful people who are coming up who will know traditional ecological knowledge and be a part of science. It doesn't want to go. Oh, water quality. Water quality is the foundation for national marine sanctuaries. It is the bedrock of national marine sanctuaries. And as goes the water, so goes all of us. So goes all of the living things in the ocean. And so national marine sanctuaries prohibit offshore oil drilling, which helps protect the water. They prohibit toxic discharges. What happens is that a lot of times municipal systems are not up to speed. And fortunately, when you have a national marine sanctuary, there are additional monies involved in bringing up our small coastal communities who are very under-resourced, bringing up their facilities to where they can have water quality that's fit to go into the sanctuary. Also, most of our small Central Coast infrastructure was built in the sea level rise region. And, as the sea level rises, that all has to be taken care of. Rodriguez Seamount, very important. It's the very southern end of the boundary we want. It is an astounding place. Seamounts like our pet rock, which is Davidson Seamount, 90 miles out of here, they have species that are not found anywhere else. There's a species that's been found on the Davidson Seamount of a sea sponge that has been proven to have anti-carcinogenic properties. And so it's the Amazon rainforest of our underwater national park. That's just that shows you where it is. Channel Islands are in the blue. The Rodriguez Seamount there is the crosshatch. And that is an amazing canyon. If you can see the deep canyon there, that creates currents and upwelling that make Point Conception, the Western Gate, Humcock, so important, with double the biodiversity of the northern species and southern species coming there to eat, coming there to swim through that and get the food that they can. This is other. I'm not going to do other. I'm running out of time. We also propose no fishing regulations. The fishing regulations are done between Pacific Fisheries Management Council and National Marine Fisheries. I already mentioned banning offshore oil drilling, seismic testing, seabed mining, toxic waste dumping. The proposed regs that we proposed, they have put that in their drafts. So they're listening. This is where you go to find out information, shumashsanctuary.org. What you can do at this point, sign up for email updates. We're going to keep asking for this to get done and to get done with the biggest protection we have. And we can't thank you enough for all your support. So I just want to say, one of the things that Noah was really impressed with was the diversity. We had faith communities. We had the Beaver Brigade. We had California trout. The wildlife was there for support. We had places and organizations that don't normally show up, and the Unitarian Universalists show up. And I'm going to read one federal comment from them. Let's see. This is from Barbara Layton. As a Unitarian Universalist person of faith and a grandmother, I have appreciated the beautiful wonders, resilience, and life-sustaining nature of protected spaces. I have also witnessed the degradation, pollution, and impoverishment of sacrifice zones and unfettered development. By the way, we might be the sacrifice zone in this thing. Destruction is easy, repair is difficult, and sometimes impossible. Maintenance takes commitment and care for the long term. I do believe we need to do all we can to protect healthy environments that sustain many future generations of life, including all precious grandchildren. Makes me cry because I have a grandson. I just want to thank you very much. What? When do you have time?
Maybe 3.
Okay, okay. I guess we have time for questions. I talk fast enough. I hope you could understand. Yes.
When I look at the map and I consider this offshore wind farm thing as being crammed down our throats, to be frank, the ecological destruction presented by that method of industrialization of the ocean will destroy the ecosystem in the sanctuary that you are mentioning here. Is there any way for, I don't know what the indigenous peoples are thinking about this particular mess, but you have a lot of support for this. I'm wondering if there's some way we can help to channel that towards making our concerns about this project known to the federal government.
First off, indigenous people, you'd have to ask each individual indigenous person. They are not they're not a, of one mind. It'd be like if you asked everybody in this room, you're going to get different. If you asked your uncle, it would be different. So there's a lot of opinions out there. We have been consulting with, when I say we, the Northern Chumash Tribal Council, and this happened back 10 years ago, even longer, when Chief Fred Collins and I went to a consultation, and Fred was lining out all the mitigation. We want this, we want that, we want that, even though we didn't even know what it was going to be like. And we walked out of that meeting, and Fred said, "Oh, this is never going to happen." And then unfortunately, he passed before this really became a threat. We and numerous indigenous communities are all consulting all the way through. Every mitigation that we asked for before the lease grants went on sale, they put in the agreements. So we're doing our best. It's hard to make mitigation for things you don't really know.
One of those things that you mentioned, that there was sonar.
Yes.
That's going to start real soon for that wind.
Right now, to be honest with you, just 3 weeks ago, we consulted with the 3 leaseholders. And right now they're looking at autonomous underwater vehicles and doing side scan sonar and using to scope their bathymetry, not using seismic acoustic testing. So I don't know. I don't know about, we're asking for there to be tribal people involved when they have their boats go out. They're giving us what they call tribal engagement opportunities. So I can't guarantee what everything's going to be, but the tribes are active. And not all the tribes are against it. Santa Ynez Band is for the Cademo project. And so it's a lot of different entities, but I've got to tell you, the tribal alliances that we've made, we're all paying a lot of attention. And we're taking the time. When they ask us, do you want a consultation, we show up. Yep.
Change of plans. We're going to do questions after the service.
Okay, we'll do questions after the service. So anyway, and I'm sorry, all of these things are really complex and it's hard to generalize, but I have to say, the indigenous communities of California are very involved, and they should be.
Okay, thank you, PJ. That was very informative. Sorry, what? Oh, okay, I've been told to remind you once again, we're taking questions afterwards, so yeah. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing the service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on screen. Thank you. thanks for all gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand, embody your spirit, and sing the closing hymn, Make Channels for the Streams of Love, number 299.
Make channels for the streams of love that they may broadly run, and love as overflowing stream fill them everyone. But if at any time we see such a channel to provide, the very fount of love for us will soon be parched and dry. For we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to love, that is the law of love.
Please be seated. As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. Let's now form a circle and join hands, and PJ will deliver our closing words.
We don't have to make such a small circle this time.
Nice size circle.
Oh, this is such a beautiful circle. So I'm going to bring it back to the Unitarian Universalist. This is from the Church of Riverside Social and Environmental Justice Committee. They wrote a letter to NOAA asking for an equitable approach to include all tribes in collaborative management, outreach, education, and research programs that elevate both traditional ecological knowledge and access for local underserved communities. We know their ancestral knowledge is critical in this task. We depend on the ocean for our recreation, our spiritual well-being, our community connections, and our economic health. I was going to do a video that's like a 2-minute thing, and it's all about economic stuff, but national marine sanctuaries are really helpful in the economies of local as well as regional economies. The seventh principle of our Unitarian Universalist faith is we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And we know that the biodiverse coast is a very important part of that web.
Have a seat.